Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to take a look at all fast moves in Pokemon Go and rank them for PvP. But before we start the video, feel free to subscribe to the channel. It's free, only 41% of you are subscribed, and we can now start immediately into this video. I'm going to rank today this only for PvP. So for example, Acid is a very good move for PvE, but for PvP it's a horrible fast move for the poison typing. Also, some moves going to get ranked maybe a little bit different from what you would rank them, mainly because I don't rank them directly only based on the stats, but also on how strong they are on different Pokemon, their typing, all that stuff. So there are going to be some moves that are basically the same moves in terms of the stats, but gonna get into different tiers based on typing, based on usage, stuff like this. So it's not scientifically proven just by numbers, so just make sure to notice that, as you can now move on to the next one. Air Slash is at least kind of used on some Pokemon, but not really a good move. One of the moves I really would like to see getting buffed, as we're gonna move on to some trash moves, which I'm not going to even really say anything about it. You're going to have Bite, which is also only really usable in some very weak maps, but like I'm actually going to put into C tier because Bite actually has sometimes some use, especially on Tyranitar in the Master League and stuff like this. But the moves below, like D tier, basically is completely unusable. Any Pokemon that really have them is completely useless. B tier, for sure, Bubble. Bubble is definitely a very decent one on a Zoom roll. It's not really the best fast move in general. Could get a buff for sure, but right now it's kind of okay on a Zoom roll. Bug Bite, fairly bad move. One turn at least is fairly okay. Some of the names are a little bit cut off, which is just because, yeah, Tierlist maker did this year. But we're going to take a look now at Bullet Punch. It's not really the best move at all, but it's definitely something that I would put into the B tier. Very solid on something like Metagross, but it's not really usable at any other Pokemon. Could be also getting a little bit of a buff here, as we can move on to Bullet Seed. Also B tier move there. Does no damage, is not really that great. Would not really put it even that high. Not the best move at all. Charge Beam, completely unusable sadly at the current time. Definitely deserves D tier. Charm. Actually, Charm's only B tier. I know a lot of people are going to disagree with this because they're like still Charm down teams and stuff like this. But since the recent nerf, it's not really that great, and I don't really think it's really great in the current meta. Confusion has to be a C tier move as well. Really bad sadly. I really hope that they're going to buff some more 3 and 4 turn moves, because those basically have next to no usage. First S tier move, which are only going to be a few by the way. Counter is by far the best fast move right now in the game in my opinion, even better than Shadow Claw, which you're going to take a look at later. The strongest fast move by far. Next one going to be Cut, something that they definitely could buff as well. Very bad normal type move. Double Kick is in my opinion the first A tier move. Actually the only basically move that is coming close to counter in terms of fighting typing, even though the other ones are very decent like Karate Chop. But Karate Chop is actually for me a C tier because it's basically not used at any state, and it's just really bad compared to the other moves that we have available. So Karate Chop, not really that great. Dragon Tail is going to be for me an A tier pick as well, which is kind of interesting because we're going to have Dragon Breath, which is honestly a low S tier, but for me also an S tier fast move. But on paper, Dragon Tail is actually better than Dragon Breath, but just in usage, Dragon Breath, because it's a 1-turn move, is just way better than Dragon Tail, where you can kind of see. I hope that the 3-turn moves are kind of getting buffed, and 4-turn moves as well. They have to definitely give you more energy generation and also more damage than, for example, 2-turn moves, because you're going to invest more turns into it anyway, going to make you more clunky, so you kind of have to balance this a little bit out, and I hope Niantic going to change it as well. For moves, for example, like Bullet Seed, I really would like to see a buff for it, Bubble, same. But we can now move on to the next one, going to be Ember. And Ember, it's in between the B and the C tier. I guess because it's usable on some Pokemon, I would put it a little bit higher, but it's not really a great move. And Extra Sensory I actually have to put into the D tier. Like, this move is really bad, and I really hope that they're going to buff it, especially for the energy generation. It actually does some solid damage. I think it's like a 4-turn Air Slash, which is still really bad, so I wouldn't really recommend it at all. Fairy Wind, on the other hand, is actually an A tier move for me. Of course, same energy generation as something like Mud Shot or like Thunder Shock, which you're going to take a look at later on. Feint Attack is just not really that great. I would put it also into D tier, something that you kind of have to buff as well. But I kind of, if you have Bite up there, I'm going to put a little bit there. Like, you can still use it, it's just not really good. Fire Fang is between B and C for me, but I would put it into a higher C tier. That's kind of where it belongs to me. Ember and Fire Spin are kind of in the same boat. They're both not great, especially because like fire type Pokemon in general are not that great right now. I really hope that one of them at least gonna get a buff in the future. Frost Breath, one of the worst possible moves as well here. Does actually some quite decent damage, but it just doesn't generate energy at all, so that's kind of awkward. Fury Cutter actually has a little bit more of use though, but I would not put it above anything else in like the C tier. It does generate energy kind of fast. I guess with Lurantis you can actually argue that it's like low B tier as well, like very low B tier, just because of the energy generation, but it's not really a great move at all. Geomancy, I kind of have to put into low A tier. Definitely is a very great improvement on the Xerneas, where it's the only Pokemon that can learn this move. But definitely a great improvement onto this Pokemon. So the move itself is not that great, and I would not put it like higher than low A tier, but I feel like it kind of deserves this one. To Confusion, we're gonna put Gust. Gust is Confusion, is yeah, flying type clone. In my opinion, they need some kind of buff. Like, it's just not really doing enough right now. Hex also going to be, for me, a C tier move. Yes, they're going to encounter a few Pokemon with this move, but the move itself is really, really bad. Like, I guess I could put it into B tier, low B tier as well again, just because of Jellicent, but it's really not something that is like, oh yeah, Hex is such a great fast move, it's so good. I guess B tier is more worth it, maybe even over Fury Cutter, but it's just not that great. Hidden Power, for sure, D tier, horrible move. I really hope that they buff it as well, because they would actually give a lot of Pokemon some play for, yeah, in general, having some kind of different Hidden Power for it, but it's definitely difficult to get those Hidden Power moves anyway, so maybe not. But very, very bad one, sadly. Ice Shard, I actually would put Ice Shard into B tier, which a lot of people are not going to agree with me, but on Dugong especially, but also in Lapras, it's just very cool to have something that generates energy fairly decent, but actually does some decent damage as well on those Pokemon. So it's kind of similar, I feel like, to Air Slash, but it just, I think, does a little bit more damage even, and just the ice typing itself is a little bit better, so I would put it higher than the other ones here right now, but it's kind of in that B tier for sure. Ace Fang, somewhere around the Fire Fang, not really that great, actually a little bit lower than that one as well. But yeah, same moves, like same stats as the Fire Fang, just as ice typing. Incinerate, I would still put them into the B tier. It's better than Ember and Fire Spin. Maybe low A tier. I guess it's low A tier in my opinion. That's just my opinion, of course, but Incinerate is insanely clunky by being a 5-turn fast move, which is the only 5-turn fast move, but it's definitely a very solid one in my opinion, definitely the best one for fire types right now, depending still on sometimes, of course, the scenario. Sometimes Ember is a little bit better, but yeah, low, very, very low A tier. It's like below A and B for me. So, Infestation, next one. I kind of want to put it really low, but I have to put it kind of below Bug Bite, because sometimes you can use an Aurora on it, but it's not that great. It generates energy very fast, but it does not do any damage. Iron Tear, very low, definitely is good that it's low though, because of Bastion. Leafage is like somewhere, I don't know, like Leafage just doesn't really feel as right. I feel like this move has some potential when the right Pokemon going to get it. For example, I recently tried out the Grass type starter from Paldea, which actually Leafage felt very decent on it, but right now the Pokemon that have Leafage don't really use it too much, or like it doesn't really help them too much, because they don't really have any fast charge move to go with it. Like for example, if you have like something like Night Slash, like the Meowscarada has, it's actually fairly decent, but if you don't have a 35 energy move, Leafage is just not really doing it. I really hope that they're going to buff it a little bit in terms of energy generation. Would be really cool. Lick, on the other hand here, yes, you're going to encounter Lick very often on something like a Lickitung and as well on the Snorlax, but I have to put it like also kind of low. I actually kind of put it above Hex, which kind of does not make sense in terms of, I think, the stats that they really have, but 1-turn fast moves are just overpowered in the current meta. And something that I have to put into A tier is going to be Lock-On. Some people most likely think Lock-On is an S tier move for sure because of the Registeel, but Registeel is, I think, more about the typing and the coverage than about Lock-On. Having 0 fast move pressure is really, really annoying. While it generates the energy the fastest, I would not really put it that crazy high. But yeah, Lock-On for me, an A tier move for sure. Low Kick, completely horrible, not usable. Let's put them somewhere low in the D tier, not usable at all. Magical Leaf is somewhere around Air Slash. It's a little bit, it's basically 1 more damage and 1 more energy than Air Slash, but Grass type as a fast move is not really that great for like offensive pressure, mainly because of Steel types floating around, as well as a lot of Flying types floating around. So, this move itself is not that great. Like, honestly, it's not that great. It could definitely deserve, like, some kind of buff for, hopefully, energy or something. But right now, like, it's not really a great fast move at all. And we saw, like, recently a lot of Pokemon getting the Magical Leaf, and literally not a single one of them is actually using this move, which is kind of sad to see. Next one going to be the Metal Claw. Again, very, very bad move. Actually, kind of easy to balance and make it a little bit better. I hope that Niantic going to take a look at this one. And now, even if you buff Metal Claw, even Metal Claw Dialga not going to be better than Dragon Breath, as Dragon Breath is S tier. It's going to be still the better move to go for Dialga, no matter how high you buff this. But Metal Claw can be a little bit tricky for Zacian later on, as Zacian is also learning this move and is definitely the best Pokemon to use it on. So, yeah. Next one, Mudshot has to be top of A tier. Just so many Pokemon learn Mudshot that are really great. Like, you could even argue of putting it super low S tier, but I would still put it into A tier just because of basically having next to no fast move pressure in terms of the damage output. So I wouldn't really put it higher than this or lower than this. Low B tier, maybe more high C tier is Mud Slap. It's not a great move at all, sadly. Yeah, it has to be C tier, like somewhere a little bit higher because Rhyperior can now use it, but it's not that great at all. Peck, horrible, D tier for sure. Poison Jab, somewhere into B tier I would say. It is decent on some Pokemon, but it's not the craziest move. It's like somewhere higher on though, like I have to put maybe high B tier, like maybe the best move on B tier in my opinion. But next one, Poison Sting. There's just no Pokemon that really wants to use it. Like, you have Ariados, where it's the only Pokemon I think that really wants to use Poison Sting. And I hope that Niantic will give this move to more Pokemon, because right now, at least, this move is not really having any action at all. And I would actually put it into C tier. Just because nobody uses, nobody has like X to it, like you don't see this move at all. It's just not really great right now. So again, it's more based on both usage as well as these stats. So it is definitely usable if like good Pokemon would have it, but not a single good Pokemon really have this move, sadly. Pound is supposed to be bad, and good that it's bad because it's going to balance something like a Chansey, so that's totally fine. Present is a meme, and Present is not going to be great at all. Powder Snow, for me, for sure, A tier move. Like, I don't know what you think about this one, but Powder Snow is going to give you great coverage and just does a ton of damage while generating energy fairly fast. So I like Powder Snow a lot. Very balanced move in my opinion. Psycho Cut, I would put low into A tier as well, mainly because Mewtwo as well as Cresselia. Those two are basically the main Psycho Cut users. Anything else don't really use it too much. And it's not as great as others, I would say, but yeah, kinda where it deserves to be. Definitely A tier for sure. Quick Attack, I could argue about, like, it's a little bit of a higher one into B tier for sure. I have to maybe fix a little bit B tier later on as well, but yeah, definitely B tier in my opinion with Quick Attack. It's not the craziest move, it's just like, you cannot have super effective damage with this move. Like, the damage plus energy generation is fine, you're just not really having any super effective damage output with this, which is kind of awkward. Now, next one, Razor Leaf. A lot of people would disagree with me on this one, but I would actually put Razor Leaf onto the C tier. Yes, now you're going to have still some play for Victory Bell, but after the nerf and after like a lot of other Pokemon being a bit better, where like this is going to impact a little bit less, I guess you can argue that Razor Leaf is still very decent like Little Cup, but for Great League, it has a little bit still of relevance, but as soon as you're going to go a little bit higher up in terms of bulk, Razor Leaf has literally zero play at all. So, I don't know, Razor Leaf itself, I would not really say that this is a great move anymore. Yes, it's still going to do a ton of damage, but not as good as Charm, and I would say it's definitely high into C tier, but it's not really that great. Rock Smash, for sure D tier, we don't even have to talk about it. Rock Throw is pretty horrific as well, so we want to put it somewhere low into the C tier, while Carping is using it. It's definitely balanced for this Pokemon, but it's not really a great move at all. Rollout, I would put a little bit higher, as a lot of Pokemon actually have access to it and definitely use this one, but it's also somewhere into the B tier. Does generate energy fairly fast, but does no damage, so that's kind of awkward. And now you're going to go ahead and go for another S tier move with Shadow Claw. Not really surprising here, very strong one there. The Smackdown is basically the Rock Throw on steroids, so I'm going to put this a little bit higher as well. Somewhere into B tier, definitely a solid one. It's still not really that great. It's basically a little bit of an upgraded Mud Slap in terms of both the type coverage, as Rock is a better offensive typing, as well as you're going to do 1 more damage compared to the Mud Slap, so it's definitely solid for that one, but it's not a crazy move at all. As we now have Snarl, Snarl has to be definitely higher up onto the B tier, if not even up onto A, but like it's not really that great. Honestly, Snarl is not that great. I have to kind of put it into somewhere here, higher up into the B tier, because yeah, like you don't even always use Snarl on Pokemon like Mandibuzz, where you even go for sometimes the Air Slash just for the extra damage output, because Snarl just doesn't do damage. Same stats as Bullet Seed, not that great. Spark itself, well, yes, the Lantern is everywhere and very, very strong with the Spark. Otherwise, it actually got nerfed for any other Pokemon than Lantern. Only Lantern really benefited from the recent buff of the damage output, which you also saw in the recent regionals. So I would put it into B tier. It's definitely a solid move in general, like you can still use it. But for most electric type Pokemon, they're fairly squishy, other than Lantern, and there you kind of would prioritize getting the energy up for like something like a Wild Charge, while Spark now, after the nerf, is going to more impact sadly the Pokemon that didn't need the impact before, like for something like a Luxray or something is going to be weaker now. So not really sure about the recent change to Spark in general. Don't think it really helped out anybody, but we can now move on to the next one, which is going to be the Splash here. Of course, Splash is not a good move at all and going to be in the lowest tier. Steel Wing also has to be in the lowest tier. Sorry, it just doesn't really have any play. Struggle Bug, horrible move, literally horrible move. I looked at the stats before that and I was like, what the hell, why is this even like a thing? It's basically Bug Bite, but a 3-turn move and generates less energy as far as I can see that, or less damage, I think, less damage. So, really, really bad. Like, literally the worst possible move there, basically, for bug typing. Sucker Punch, I don't know, like, it's kind of like Feint Attack. I would actually put Feint Attack maybe into the lowest bracket there and Sucker Punch somewhere there. It's just not really great. Tackle is, for me, kind of a B-tier pick here, for sure. Tackle is solid, it's not great, it's just like something that you can run, something here definitely worth it, especially for something like an Ursaluna. It's kind of a balanced one. Takedown, lowest tier for sure. Thundershock, a lot of people most likely going to disagree, I guess. Yeah, I kind of have to put it into the A tier. It's somewhere with the Psycho Cut, I feel like it kind of deserves to be here. It's just like Thundershock, like electric type Pokemon don't really have the biggest play right now. Again, I kind of actually want to put it a little bit lower. I actually want to put it into B tier because there are not that many Pokemon that really use it. Yes, you're going to use it maybe onto your spicy Zapdos or like your Amolga, but that's basically it for this one. Next one going to be Thunderfang, has to be somewhere low into the C tier, where we also now have to scroll out a little bit because we would not see the other moves anymore. Wine Whip, for me, the best grass type fast move by far, so I actually would put it somewhere up into the A tier. Wine Whip, definitely a fairly solid one, not crazy at all, but it's definitely the best fast move for the grass typing in my opinion. Also, it's a Wing Attack clone, which we're going to also put there. So Wing Attack, Powder Snow, Wine Whip, they're all kind of the same. So we kind of would put them all in the same area as well, which is really cool. Volt Switch is going to be actually a Shadow Claw clone, but as a double, basically. You're going to have double the moves, double the damage, double the energy. So I would put this one as the best electric type fast move just because of the extra damage. Still a little bit low onto the A tier, but I would put it at least here. Waterfall, it's a little bit biased for me. I would put it actually into low B tier because this move is going to be very cool for Kyogre at least, where you can use it. Empoleon definitely benefits for it. The damage output is really cool. The energy generation is okay because a lot of Pokemon learn Surf, where you can just go for it after 5 Waterfalls, which is cool. So it's not the worst, definitely. And definitely something solid for damage output, but also not that crazy. Water Shuriken, in my opinion, is definitely one of the best moves that he can have right now. It's honestly, stat-wise, just one of the coolest one. Of course, it only learned by 2 Pokemon right now, so it's not going to be insanely crazy, but I would put it actually somewhere into the top of A tier. Water Shuriken, very good 3-turn move, very cool to see. Water Gun is somewhere above Bubble for sure, in my opinion, in terms of the damage output. It's just a little bit better, but it's not really a crazy move anyway. I'm just gonna put it next to Bubble, they're kind of equal. And then we're going to have 2 very crap moves at the end, which you can just put in there with Yawn and then Headbutt. Then Headbutt, definitely a very, very bad move as well. But yeah, this is going to be it, my tier list here for the fast moves in Pokemon Go. Do you agree with this? Let me know in the comment section. Otherwise, hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to leave a like, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.